My maiden name is Patricia Gonzalez Montañez. My married name is Patricia Wallace. I am a member of the Puyallup tribe, and I am a core leader in the Water Warriors movement. I grew up separate from my tribe. I grew up not knowing anything until I was about 10 years old. I didn't really know what it meant to be a Native American. I knew my Mexican heritage, but I didn't really know my Native American side. And so when I came here and I moved over here, I made it a goal to jump into everything that I could and learn what it meant to be Native. I would say I was well received because I had a lot of family members and tribal members who came and took the time to sit down and teach me things. Teachers who didn't have to sit there and explain things to me, things that other kids learned just throughout their life, throughout daily life, going with their parents to these religious or these cultural events. And those are things that I had to come back and I was behind. So it meant a lot for me to have those teachers, and they didn't have to do that. So I felt like I was really honored to be able to come here and have those people just open their arms to me and their houses and their minds to bring all those teachings to my life. When I first heard water is life, I felt relieved in a way because it's something that I had been talking about for a while, like just in my everyday life to my husband, to my family members. I just would talk about how important it was and how we weren't really noticing how important it was to take care of these resources, to take care of the water and the land, and soon we may not have those. And like our fish, one of the youth who was researching in our fishery said, we have about 4 years until our salmon is completely extinct because of all of the pollution, because of all of the toxins that are in the water, everything. That's a huge deal. And so when this came about, I was really happy that there was awareness that was being brought to the situation. Between non-natives and natives, there is a different perspective, but I definitely feel like there's a huge bonus to being able to work together. And we actually do work with a huge amount of other non-native groups who help bring awareness, who will stand all day long. Some of our very first rallies down at Firecracker Alley, when they were doing construction and we first went down and sat down, we actually had most non-native groups with us, and there was a group from Seattle that stayed there all night. They stayed there. We tried to bring them snacks and keep them warm, and they went there and offered their bodies and planted themselves there. And I thought that was amazing to have somebody so dedicated to fight for us. It may not be to them personally the situation or the hurt or the effect on their religion per se, but it is on the environment. It is, there's a huge blast zone that affects everybody. That doesn't just affect Native groups, and they see that. All the groups that we work with, they see that it's a huge problem for everybody, not just us, but we have this platform to stand on because of where it is. We have a voice that can be heard, and we can stand up and choose to use that voice, and that's what the Water Warriors group has done. They've taken it upon themselves to fight where other people are afraid to or don't want to. And I think it's just amazing that these other groups want to step in, even if they're not even from our area. I definitely feel like we're connecting better on a lot of different levels, just because when any group of people come together, they don't know a lot about each other. They don't know, the strengths, the weaknesses of each person. And when we came together, we didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know how to get started. And some of those groups helped us get started. They helped us, go through different avenues. We have ways of doing things through our traditional ways and our religion, our cultural ways. Me, myself, I focus a lot on the cultural aspects of keeping this movement going and praying about things and keeping people healthy, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually. And we want people to be respectful of each other and their opinions. Being pregnant and going through the rallies and the events and all of the dangerous situations, my mind definitely did go through a few thoughts, pros and cons, what could happen, what couldn't happen. Only maybe 1 or 2 times that I had to think, okay, we need to go to plan B, or, we're about ready to go to plan B. But being pregnant myself, I felt strong. And I feel like the kids felt strong being there too, because they wanted to be there and I wanted to be there. There's even events that the other water warrior group would hold me back from. Like I stayed down at the Firecracker Alley for 2 days, and then we noticed people were getting sick after their 3rd day. So they told me, you can't come anymore. They kind of kicked me out. And I was upset and I was sad, but I understood and I knew it wasn't safe for us or the kids to be down there. There's a level of fear in it, but we've always tried to make sure that our events and our meetings, everybody knows that we want everybody to come with a respectful and prayerful mind in a good way. And that's the way we start off every event. Just come in good thoughts. And if you can't do that and you have to tell us, no, I can't come, then we understand. And we understand that sometimes you just need a break. And we've had people in our own group that have said, today I need a break. Today I can't go there with a good mind because I have all this other stuff going on. It was well, for me, it kind of started out as a little joke because I'm not really the person to be like the face of anything, or, I do like to help people and things like that, but I'm okay with being, behind the scenes. And so we were sitting down one day and we were all talking about, we need something that really represents us. And we don't want, the reason we came up with Water Warrior Movement also is because we don't want, something that ties one thing to one person or one group. We want to just be like a representative for the cause, for the movement. We slowly started to say the Puyallup Water Warrior Movement just so people knew where we were from, because people were getting confused and thought we were, in like North Dakota or something. But we really tried to keep it simple and keep it like on the cause. And so we had started to talk about, like a symbol that represented us, that people would see, like we could put a picture of it and people would see and be like, I know what that means and I know what it's for. And so it had happened that, when we did our very first event, we had went out on a canoe water protest when the Tacoma Festive Sail event where they had the big duck. And I was 4 months pregnant and I had not told anybody yet. I had not told anybody yet that I was pregnant, and we had pulled in the canoe for about 2 hours. And I was one of, I think, 2 girls. I think Sarah Riza was the other girl on there. And then there was about 5 guys, big guys. And we had got back to the marina and got off, and they were talking about how tired they were, and how much a workout and all of this stuff. And I think somebody had said something about being pregnant, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. And I had said it quietly to Sarah, and she's like, you're pregnant? No way, how did you just find out? I was like, no, I'm 4 months. And she was like, oh my God. And she freaked out and she started telling everybody, and Dakota was just so shocked. He was like, you out paddled some of these men and you're 4 months pregnant. He's like, that is just insane to me. So right after that, he started saying, there's only 2 life givers, women and water. And so that kind of became a little catchphrase. And then that day when we were talking about our logo, he was like, well, you're pregnant, you are. And he's like, and you've been in this movement. And he's like, and you out paddled some of the men. He's like, I think you should be our logo. And I was like, I was talking about, like a symbol, a drawn design. He was like, no, I think you should be our logo. And I am kind of the connection also between the tribes, because I have cousins in so many different tribes and friendships in so many different tribes, that when it comes to the cultural aspect, they kind of come to me and ask me, hey, can you go over there and ask them this? Or, can you invite them to these events? And so I kind of became the face of like mediating that relationship. And so he kind of was just like, oh, you're the face of this, you're the logo. So he's been trying to get me to like do something so that we can make me the logo, and I just haven't given in. I've given him designs of different options of something like it that we talked about, but that he's set on it. He's like, you're gonna be the logo. And I think it's mainly because he was so proud that I out paddled men on the canoe when I was 4 months pregnant. And so ever since then, and I've been going to rallies, and I stayed as much in the movement as I could, all the way up until I was like 7.5 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant. And I worked until I was up until like 2 days before I went into labor, doing cultural events and keeping them informed, and doing background things that I could do with flyers and things like that. A huge thing that I always tell people, when we go to these events and we have these rallies, we need people at home to pray for us. And there's been so many situations where they could have gone wrong and they didn't, because as soon as we noticed things going down a negative path, we called all of our families, we called all of our elders, all of our tribal members, and we told them, pray for us. If you can't come and you can't stand here and you can't be here with us, pray for us. Light some medicine, say a prayer, whatever you can do at the moment, do it for us.